Lashkov to change his ways. Let's read and find out. Induced means persuaded. Kind sir, have pity. Turn your attention to a poor, hungry man. Who said this? A beggar. The beggar said this. For 3 days I have had nothing to eat. I haven't 5 kopecks for a lodging. He said that he had not eaten food for 3 days and he hasn't 5 kopecks. Kopecks is Russian currency for a lodging for staying. I swear it before God. ये मैं कसम खाता हूँ. For 8 years I was a village school teacher and then I lost my place through intrigues. What is, he said that he was a village school teacher and he had lost his place through intrigues means bad plans. I fell a victim to calumny. Calumny means criticism. It is a year now since I have had anything to do. मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं है करने को. The advocate Sergei looked at the ragged, fawn-colored overcoat of the suppliant, at his dull, drunken eyes, at the red spot on either cheek, and it seemed to him as if he had seen this man somewhere before. The advocate with whom the beggar was talking, he looked at his ragged means worn out clothes, fawn colored. Fawn colored means of the color of the fawn. What is a fawn? Baby deer. Overcoat of the suppliant means who was making humble request. In this, the beggar was there. And at his dull, drunken eyes, at the red spot on either cheek, as he had seen this person, the advocate thought that he had seen this person somewhere. I have now had an offer of a position in the province of Kaluga. The mendicant went on. कहते मुझे एक ऑफर आई है पोजीशन के लिए एंड व्हाट इज मेंडिकेंट द बैगर बट आई हैवंट द मनी टू गेट देयर मैं वहाँ तक जाने के लिए आई डोंट हैव मनी हेल्प मी काइंडली आई एम एशेम टू आस्क बट आई एम ऑब्लाइज टू बाय सर्कमस्टेंसेज कहते आई एम एशेम मुझे शर्म आ रही है मांगते हुए बट आई एम ऑब्लाइज टू situations are like that I have to beg. Sergei's eyes fell on the man's overshoes, one of which was high and the other low, and he suddenly remembered something. And Sergei saw his shoes, one was low and one was high, and he remembered something. Look here, it seems to me I met you the day before yesterday in Sadovia Street, he said. But you told me then that you were a student who had been expelled and not a village school teacher. Do you remember? Now, as he saw his shoes, he suddenly remembered that he had seen him remembered something, and he asked him, "Ki I had met you yesterday, day before yesterday, in that street." He named street Sadovia Street, and that time you told that you were a student and you were shunted out from the school, and you are not a school teacher. Village, do you remember? Yaad hai? No, that can't be so, mumbled the beggar. Mumbled means he didn't speak clearly, unclear words. I am a village school teacher and if you like I can show you my papers. और कहते हैं I am a village school teacher and I can show you your papers. Have done with lying. You called yourself a student and even told me what you had been expelled for. Don't you remember? कहते हैं हमेशा lying झूठ बोलते. Lying means झूठ बोलना. You called yourself a student and who had been expelled for और तुमने reason भी बताया था कि you had been expelled for that. Sergei flushed and turned from the ragged creature with an expression of disgust. Or flushed means strong, he got red, and turned from the ragged means rough looking creature with an expression of disgust means strong dislike he turned towards. This is dishonesty, my dear sir, he cried angrily. This is swindling. I shall send the police for you, damn you. कहते ये तो बेईमानी है. And he said angrily, and this is swindling means you are deceiving. I shall send the police for you. Who said I shall send? The advocate said. And to whom? To the beggar. Sir, he said, laying his hand on his heart, the fact is, I was lying. I am neither a student nor a school teacher. All that was fiction. Formerly, I sang in a Russian choir and was sent away for drunkenness. कहता ओके सर उसने उनका हाथ अपने दिल पे लगा के बोला द फैक्ट इज आई वॉज लाइंग मैं झूठ बोल रहा हूँ, मैं झूठ बोल रहा था. आई एम नीदर अ स्टूडेंट, आई एम नॉट अ स्टूडेंट, नॉर आई एम अ स्कूल टीचर. ऑल दैट वॉज फिक्शन. फॉर्मरली आई सैंग. पहले मैं किसके लिए गाता था? रशियन क्वायर. वट इज़ अ क्वायर? अ ग्रुप ऑफ सिंगर्स. एंड वॉज सेंट अवे फॉर ड्रंकननेस. मैं बहुत पीता था एंड आई वॉज सेंट अवे. बट वेल, वट एल्स कैन आई डू? I can't get along without lying. No one will give me anything when I tell the truth. What can I do? कहता है, what can I do? I have to lie. Otherwise, people will not give me anything. They'll say you work and you do. And drunkenness is the habit of drinking liquor. What can you do? You ask what you can do, cried Sergei, coming close to him. Work? That's what you can do. You must work. कहते क्या, what can you do? तुम क्या कर सकते हो? You ask what you can do. And Sergei said, work, that you can do. You must work. Work? Yes, I know that myself. But where can I find work? कहता मुझे पता है काम तो कर सकता हूँ पर कहाँ काम मिलेगा? How would you like to chop wood for me? कि मेरे लिए लकड़ी काट दोगे? I would refuse to do that, but wouldn't refuse to do that. But in these days, even skilled woodcutters find themselves sitting without bread. कहते हैं मैं मना नहीं करूँगा उसके लिए, पर in these days, skilled means with abilities. Woodcutters are sitting idle without bread, बिना खाने के they are sitting. Will you come and chop wood for me? Yes, sir, I will. Very well. We'll soon find out. Sergei hastened along, rubbing his hands. He called his cook out of the kitchen and he called, here, Olga, he said, take this gentleman to the woodshed and let him chop wood. And who was that woman? The cook was and the name of the cook was Olga. And he said, take this gentleman into the woodshed and let him chop wood. Give him wood to chop. The scarecrow of a beggar shivered, shrugged his shoulders as if in perplexity, and went irresolutely after the cook. And scarecrow of a beggar. What is a scarecrow? When they're in the fields, there is crop, and the farmers, to scare away the birds and all, a figure is made. So he, in the form of a scarecrow, the beggar shrugged his shoulders, pulled back his shoulders as if in confusion, and went hesitantly after the cook. Hesitantly he went there. It was obvious from his gait that he had not consented to go and chop wood because he was hungry and wanted work, but simply from pride and shame, and because he had been trapped by his own words. Or he was, it was obvious that he had not consented to go. He didn't want to go and chop wood because he was hungry and wanted work, but simply from pride that he had been trapped by his own words, that he can do anything, and the advocate told him to chop wood, so he had to do that. It was obvious too that his strength had been undermined by vodka, and that he was unhealthy and did not feel the slightest inclination for toil. And it was obvious कि उसकी जो strength थी, जो ताकत थी, it had been undermined means weakened by vodka, by drink, and he was unhealthy and did not feel the slightest willingness for toil, for work. For working, he didn't have any willingness because he was feeling weak. Sergei hurried into the dining room. From its windows, one could see the woodshed and everything that went on in the yard. And Sergei went into the dining room and he could see from its window the woodshed and everything that was in the yard. Standing at the window, Sergei saw the cook and the beggar come out into the yard with the back door and make their way across the dirty snow to the shed. And Sergei saw the cook and beggar. They come into the yard and they make way across the dirty snow. Olga, Olga glared wrathfully at her companion, wrathfully with anger, and shoved him aside with her elbow, pushed roughly, ऐसे उसको धक्का दिया, unlocked the shed and angrily banged the door. And unlocked the shed means shed को खोला and banged जोर से दरवाजा मारना. She was angry. Next, he saw the pseudo teacher seat himself on a log and become lost in thought with his red cheeks resting on his feet, on his fists. And he saw that he was sitting on a log and he was lost in thought with his red cheeks resting on his fists. The woman flung down at an axe at his feet, spat angrily, and, judging from the expression of her lips, began to scold him. And what did the she do? She flung down an axe. एक कुल्हाड़ी उसकी पाँव पे मारी and spat, जोर से पाँव मारना, and it could be judged that she was angry and scolded him, began to scold him, to rebuke him. The beggar irresolutely pulled a billet of wood towards him, and he was without he what did he do? He pulled a big thick piece of wood towards him, set it between his feet, and tapped it. And what did he do? He put the thick log of wood between his feet and tapped it. धीरे धीरे उसके ऊपर मारने लगा axe. The billet wavered and fell down. जो thick piece of wood था, it moved and it fell down. The beggar again pulled it to him, blew on his freezing hands, and tapped it with his axe cautiously, as if afraid of hitting his overshoe or of cutting off his figure. And the beggar again pulled it in hand below him, blew on his freezing hands. Freezing hands means a cold hands, and tapped it with axe cautiously, ध्यान से, as if he was afraid of hitting his overshoe and of cutting off his finger. Sergei's anger had vanished, and he now began to feel a little sorry and ashamed of himself for having set a spoiled, drunken, perhaps sick man to work at million labor in the cold. And Sergei's anger had vanished. उसका anger जो था गायब हो गया था, and he felt that he was sorry for and ashamed. उसको शर्म आ रही थी अपने आप पे कि he had set a spoiled means useless, drunken और sick man को काम पे लगा दिया है. Menial labor means unskilled labor. An hour later, Olga came in and announced that the wood had all been chopped. And after an hour, Olga came and she announced that the wood had been chopped. Good. Give him half a ruble, said Sergei. If he wants to, he can come back and cut wood on the first day of each month. We can always find work for him. And he said, okay, give him half a ruble. Ruble is also a currency, and he wants to come back. He can come on the first day of each month, and he can always find, they can find work, they'll give him work, he can come. So